All right. Hello, welcome everybody. We're back another weekend of Illuvium Pro League. The IPL 250 just about to get started here. Players should be just in the process of wrapping up their check-in process, and we will get into matches very shortly. Of course, this happens to be your first time here. My name's Silent. I'm going to be your caster, producer, observer, one-man show here for the quarterfinals and the semifinals. Later on, I'm going to be hopping onto the Illuvium stream with Paz and Caveman for the grand final. But I have the opportunity here today to do a little extra bonus coverage on the quarters and semis. So, heck, we're going to do it. Might be a bit of a long day, but it should be fun. Of course, today's action is going to be a little bit shorter compared to some of the other tournaments that you may have seen in the Illuvium Pro League. The IPL 250s, this one is just going to be for the quarterfinals, the best of two. Semifinals, best of two, and then the grand final is just going to be a best of three, not a best of five. So it'll be a shorter day. Everything is going to conclude and take place here today, and there'll be nothing for Sunday, which is a nice little break of sorts before we get into what is going to be probably the craziest stretch on the Illuvium Pro League calendar, where we have basically back-to-back 500s and 1000s and last chance qualifiers, and then eventually the actual end of season championship. So it is an exciting time. Surfer Dude, hello, welcome, thanks for joining. Of course, regardless of which platform you happen to be watching, I do have chat to the side, and even though I am casting matches, I still do look at chat, and I still will talk to y'all as I'm doing casting. This isn't a strictly suit and tie cast here. It's a little bit looser, but still just try to be just as exciting. In a moment, I do have pulled up here. Let's see if I can find it. Our participants and the lobbies here for today. I'm going to refresh before revealing, just in case there's any sort of last second changes. Maybe somebody didn't make the check-in timer. But it looks like everything is a... Oh. Swap on over to that. And let's take a look at what we got here. So, the players qualifying into this IPL 250, I'll go through each of them in regards to which lobby, and then chat by any means. If you have any suggestions as to which lobby you want to cover, then, or at least cover first, please do let me know. With it being a best of two, part of me wants to stick with one lobby all the way through, but if for one reason or another we decide otherwise, I'm still open to the idea. Lobby 1 here for our quarterfinal after the refresh. Of course, I very well could make another refresh and change some things, but as of this moment, we can at least see who's qualified. So Lynx PQP, I feel like no surprise. We see Lynx in pretty much every IPL event they compete in. Selfless, they're rather new to me. I've seen them grinding out on the ranked ladder over the last couple of days. It always catches me off guard. I see someone without a profile picture, without a Luvatar, and I think they're new, and then they kick my ass. So, I mean, it is what it is. The Weeks makes a return here for the IPL alongside OLA's Nariba, Slooper, Dr. Spoon from Team Hype, Kulagast is back, and then Zabrojson, who was in the grand finals in the last IPL event, in the last IPL 250 that we just had last week. And little did I know, I did not check Wikipedia ahead of time. This is a case of a team fight tactics professional coming over to Illuvium, finding success immediately, and only playing for maybe about, say, 3 weeks before competing in the actual tournament itself. I went and checked the match history, and yeah, they basically started playing at like mid-September. So they are still rather new to this, but a TFT Pro coming in and doing work on this, on our veterans in the community. And from what it sounds like too, based off of what I was listening to on Scoriox and Terran talk on the download, Zabrosian's confident as can be as well. Very, very happy to be here. Says our top players are actually not that good and he can take this easy. Something along those lines. Not an exact quote, but still, extremely confident individual. Going to be looking forward to seeing how Zabrosian does here today. In lobby number 2, Fancy Pants from Team Atlas is going to be there alongside Hollow Hype. And Luke Heats from Team Sura. Ramone from Team Apex. OLA's Detective Alané makes another return here to the IPL alongside two-time back-to-back winner I'm a Fishy from Team Hype, alongside Stygen from Team Hype and Hoshi from Team Atlas. Match 3. Let's take a look on how Unhappy Hype is going to be paired up with Fox Spirit, one of our basically guaranteed top players in terms of ranked, but IPL has been a little bit tougher for them. Looking forward to seeing how they do here today, alongside Not Complain from Team Hype, Jonah Kino from Team Sura, Orc 1, which I believe is their first appearance here in an IPL. How do I even pronounce this? Ixis? Ixis from, or no team, or just Ixis again, just brand new to this area, so this should be crazy. Then we have Bad Borges. So this is Borges from before, changed their name up a little bit, but Borges from Team Sura going to be in this lobby alongside Maru, who's been in IPL many, many times. A little bit hit or miss. Maybe this is going to be their week. In China, actually, we do have an IPL tournament winner, Sota. Any official or no official commentary from Illuvium today? Yes, but for grand finals. I'm going to cover quarters, I'll cover semis, then I'll hop in with them for grands. I just happen to have the availability here today, so I'll take the extended shift, so to speak. Last but not least here, LMNKO from Team Atlas, Fury Hype, Hasu, Narkesh, Jari, Wolverine 777 Hype, Slicks Hype, and Psyforcer. I believe this is Psyforce's first appearance in an IPL. And seeing them grind heavily over this last couple of days here. While I'm spamming air and shock on the ladder, they've seen me many, many times, and they've figured out how to deal with my bullcrap. So, I'm sure they will adjust well. Granted, you only have the 2 games. Best of 2 is not a heck of a lot of time to really make adjustments. The one player that I'm personally also going to be keeping my eye on is going to be Slicks Hype, as Slicks started off with an absolute bang in the Illuvium Pro League's the start of the season, but unfortunately just kind of fell off a cliff in the midsection here and of these latter ones. And it's not to any lack of practice. They're always online. They're always practicing. Excuse me. They're always online. They're always practicing. Just one bounce or another just hasn't necessarily gone their way. Maybe this will be the day that it gets shaken off a little bit. Tournament lobbies are now up and running. In fact, they've been up for a little bit. Personally, I think I'm going to start off, unless anybody in the chat has any suggestions in regards to a lobby. Yeah, everybody seems like they're off to the races. So, personally, in terms of a mixture of new faces and people who I think could have a breakout day, I'm kind of looking at this one here with Stygen, Hollow, I'm a Fishy, Detective Alané. But then, still so many good matches. And actually, one thing, unless I see anything else, the one match here with Hollow and Stygen is on Brightland, Tiger Boreal with Rosen. That works for me. We can go take a look and see if it's a Broachson. This is one I was on my radar as well. Maybe we'll hop between lobbies, or we'll just stick to the one. But for now, it looks like, yeah, we'll go with that one. I do have my Illuvium already booted up and ready. Join as spectator. Taiga Boreal is the region they are at, but it's a pretty tame one. It's just a matter of dealing with drone augments that stay at stage 2. Alright, how is the music? Why don't we... Which lobby was... The one with Brogeson, was that lobby 1? That was lobby 1, so okay. Notes. That only matters to me because I am a stickler for the details, and of course I actually have an overlay of sorts that I kind of want to be accurate. Game sound's going to be extremely low because I do play at a much setting. Let's bump that up a little bit, why don't we? Screw it, we'll do it live. But hey, it is what it is. Now we're into the game. All right, there we go. So, of course, this is Lobby 1, Game 1 of the quarterfinals in this IPL 250. In our lobby, we do have Lynx PQP, Selfless, Dr. Spoon from Team Hype. We have Luix, we have Slooper, who might actually be streaming their own POV as well. So if that's something that you're interested in, I definitely recommend you go take a look at their stream as well. I believe it is on Twitch. Then we have Sabrojsen, Ole Nariba, and Kuligas. Now, in my pre-show, I was kind of glazing up Sabrojsen here for a little bit because it was, again, I'll just kind of repeat myself a little bit, but unbeknownst to me, in last week's grand final, Sabrojsen is a team fight tactics professional that has tried out Illuvium, found success extremely quickly, basically started ranking up in mid-September, and now had their first opportunity to get into a IPL Grand Final, and they did very, very solid in their first attempt. They didn't win the whole thing by any means. Of course, that went to I'm a Fishy, but still a very, very solid run there from Sabrojsen already. But again, this lobby is still completely full of killers. Kuligast has been absolutely showing up in community tournaments as well. Ole Nariba, you can never ever count them out. While they've not necessarily won an IPL, they're always at the top of the ranked leaderboard. You can expect to probably see them make a push. And one of these weeks, I'm sure, will be the time. Slooper's been having a solid run. It's good to see the Weeks back as well. They've made a grand final. I believe it was in an IPL 500 not long ago. Selfless has been grinding on the ladder constantly. Lynx PQP is a basically a top 16 shoe-in almost. It feels like just super, super consistent, if not constantly in the finals. And then Dr. Spoon from Team Hype, who's been trying a ton to get into the IPL and has found maybe the top 32, top 16, maybe a couple of times, but qualifying here once again here today. And it is good to see them back. And when I alt-tab, it doesn't trigger the overlay. Thank goodness there. We'll quickly go through the field in just a moment's time, see what everybody's using in terms of weapons, in terms of team compositions, because we did kind of join this one a little bit hot. We see Sabrojsen and Slooper making a little bit of a battle out of this one, but Slooper here with, I believe that is a mud composition. Only the 2 muds, but just the fighter predator style, going to take care of Sabrojsen off the start. So while we have the second, let's take a look and see. Let's take a look and see what we got going on here. Sabrojsen rocking my favorite weapon, the Emberling Rod. This thing does so much damage, but is so inconsistent that it kind of makes up for it. Kuligas is going to be rocking the Earth Mauler. Then Nariba going for the fire, going for that the Fire Scion Gauntlet. Luix Scion as well, but for the Earth side of things. Dr. Spoon's going to be trying to play the Verdant Rogue, looks like. Slooper's got that water fighter weapon, so if mud is on the table, which it looks like it is now on the table, that is going to be 4 mud here for Slooper immediately, and you have the Chicondi as well, so it's mud and predator. That is actually kind of scary. And then both Lynx and Selfless are going to be rocking Earth fighter weapon, or air fighter weapon. I'm kind of nervous here for Dr. Spoon. This Mud Squad is absolutely terrifying, and we're seeing exactly why. You might be able to jump over to the other side, get a little bit of a pot shot on some of that back line, but just look at how much damage there is on this green side. Dr. Spoon's definitely going to take the hit there, because there's just damage on all fronts, especially coming out here from that Exalted Monk here. Doing an absolute ton of damage. You've got the Berserker on top of it thanks to the Ranger. So there you go. There's the Kieran build. It's coming into fruition. That is definitely something to keep in mind. Of course, though, actually coming from Soda in the chat is that, yes, he's got Mud early. It's an amazing start. But you are going to eventually be going up against Air, and as of right now, of the augments that I've seen with Slooper, I don't see anything to trigger True Sight or Clumsy. So you might have a ton of damage in terms of fist fighting, but if you can't hit the damn target, there's not much use to that. Plus the super effective against you. Hyper. Hello, good to see you, and hey, thank you. It just worked out today. I had the availability, and we aren't doing the Grand Finals cast until a little bit later. Think I have the availability? Heck, let's warm up a little bit. Let's get some coverage here on these early rounds. And thank you for joining. Never mind, Soda says there is actually True Sights given here to Slooper. Where is it? Where is the True Sight? Is it on the Ranger? Question mark. There it is. It is the Hunter's Precision on the Ranger itself. So basically, we're going to have a little bit of, not cuddle buddies, but it's going to be a little bit of a tag team action. That Ranger is always going to be stuck like glue to that Monkier, triggering it to have a little bit of extra range, which is scary in its own right. But it will have that True Sight to deal with Air. So this is pretty much exactly the kind of setup that Slooper is going to want. So you see Kuligas slowly but surely kind of starting to build up a little bit of a corner composition. But the thing with this squad, they have the Gorilla that is just so good at getting into the back line. They have the Monk here that can just kind of plow through like a funnel. And we're slowly but surely going to chip on through. Granted, that was pretty well resisted, but still, look at how many Illuvials are still on the board here for Slooper. Now Nariba is playing what personally has been one of my favorite builds since seeing it in the last IPL. The 6-air 4-shock style has been an absolute blessing to me personally. Something that's not Scion and not Bunker. It's been really fun, but the problem here for Nariba, they are stuck with 2-shock. So they are going to have much less firepower than what they would like to at this point. Granted, they have air, but at the same time, this is where that True Sight is going to be super, super valuable. That Mammoth is usually meant to dodge things like crazy, but it immediately just got pumped. And now they're on to the Kukaraf, which will fall extremely quickly. You might be able to stun one thing, but when there's 6 things right on top of you, I don't think that really matters now, does it? That is going to be the Valente going down, the Winks going down, Nariba going down. We gave a lot of love here to Slooper in the start. Let's take a look at Link's PQP real fast before we start getting into possible eliminations. Full eliminations in this one, and actually a good timing here with this NPC round. So I kind of see what's happening here. So Link's, just as a part of going for fighter, also has air, also has dust. And 7 fighters makes it so that they basically don't even really need a tank. I mean, they have the Cardulo if they want to tank, but you can just basically tank with your face just by hitting everything, so fair enough in that regard. That is a scary looking squad. Doesn't have anything that's exalted, like nothing that's like stage 3. But still a very, very scary squad in their own right. I know we just saw Nariba in the last one. I do want to see how Link's P's team functions here, though, versus this squad. Bit interesting to See if maybe... Do they have the Clumsy? They do have Clumsy on the bear. So they can at least kind of focus down one target. Kind of let the polar bear here, the Jokal, be the quarterback of sorts. Kind of lead the team, but it's all the way off to the side, so it's going to be getting to the battle last. And, okay, good here for Nariba, though. They did finally get to the Roo. The Tibiruko is now here. So that means 3 shock on the board. And let's see how this one goes. Looking for the lightning to strike, and maybe it's taking care of some of these Luvials. Of course, the lightning doesn't reset based off a shock. That is a squeeze-only thing. So now, let's see if there's just enough time for Nariba to just stall this out. And I think the fact that they don't have necessarily a very good front line here is going to allow for Nariba to tear through. Lynx PQP, their win streak is going to be over. It's going to be spoiled by OLA's Nariba. Of course, 'tis the season, so my throat and my nose are starting to get a little bit ill, unfortunately. So if you see me duck to the side, I will be right back. Just quickly keep myself in the game. The game is reading my mind here. I was about to go take a look at Dr. Spoon, who happens to be playing up against Lynx anyway, so this works out. And let's see how the rest of this is starting to shape out. So, Lynx had a fantastic start with those 7 fighters, but they really need to start getting a tankier one. And finding Jotun might actually be the answer there. That is kind of crazy. Slooper looks good, but not unstoppable. Nariba might be coming into the swing of things, especially now that they just got Tempest online. But we are not looking at that one. We have here... Lynx PQP and Dr. Spoon losing track of things just a little bit. But let's see, how about little Alfie? Did that little buff help you take some units down? It will, but the Forest is still right there in your face, and just the pure swarm onto this squad here for Dr. Spoon is going to put them down. Down to the bubble, possibly first eliminated here in this first game. Of course, everything is best of 2, so it would not be the end-all be-all, but would definitely hurt to go down this early in the quarterfinal. Composition-wise here for Dr. Spoon, other than the fact that they have Verdant and they happen to have a lot of rogues, I just don't necessarily see the squad really working here. They have the stabbing, and I think that's kind of what's holding them back here. If that thing was a slashing at this point, I mean, it would be pretty nice. Kind of stuck here just with the middle evolution. Now, 2 players in a bit of a world are hurt here. Selfless and Dr. Spoon. Dr. Spoon needs this to find themselves not eliminated in this one. We got Fighters and Berserkers again, but compared to some of the other teams that we've seen here, Selfless looks much more defeatable. Let's see how this goes. Polar Bear in the back alongside the Caradulo, going to try and tank things up. Lots of emphasis being put onto that Fur Knight to try and deal the damage. Right now, though, the Jokal on the left-hand side is going to fall. Rampfight does what Rampfight does best and just shreds that entire section. Dr. Spoon looked like they were on the verge of elimination, but unless this Ranger and unless this Fur Knight can turn this around, I think they will hang on for just a little bit longer. And with the Lalura and Ranger basically playing tag here with Selfless's Ranger, they will finally catch them, finally tag them, and finally send them out. And that was a round 19 Jotun. So a very devastating pickup there for Lynx already. And the fact that I think Lynx, who had 7 fighters, and then Selfless to go for 7 fighters, they're running over each other, but hey, Lynx is laughing. They're the ones with 80-something HP. Selfless does not have much time to really make an adjustment. 2 possible eliminations here this time by Brojan Slooper, but I kind of gave a lot of love to both of them very early. I have not really seen the weeks, and then this is going to be the second time taking a look at Dr. Spoon. The Weeks, what are you cooking in this instance? So close to that 5 Bulwark, 6 Scion Invoker composition, but they are stuck at 5. I don't think they have the option to get the 6th, so they're going to have to opt to throw that Axon back onto the field. Big carry in the background is going to be that Sinolf, and if they line up just like this, it could be devastating. Where is the Sinolf going to target? Will it target the Alfie or target the Rhoda? It looks like it's going to target the Alfie, which is going to be the best case scenario here for Dr. Spoon, as the rest of the squad dive on through. The Stabbin's in a perfect position. That's a second shot from the Sinolf going directly into Dr. Spoon's Alfie, away from the Rogues, but actually, this Ranger made it very, very close, but Dr. Spoon will live. Hop on over real fast. Can we catch and see what happened there? Zabrochson did actually defeat Slooper's Mud Squad. So, Zabrochson is still in this. Dr. Spoon's still in this. Selfless is low. Coolagast is low. 4 players potentially in a spot to get eliminated if they lose hard enough. Nothing super juicy in terms of this carousel. In fact, for this late in the game, the fact that it's the highest thing that I'm seeing is a tier 3, that's kind of surprising. So everybody, I'm guessing in this instance, more so just focused on the component that the Illuvial is carrying rather than the Illuvial themselves. And now Dr. Spoon finds the slash in. That is going to be absolutely humongous for them. Big old power spike going their way. This damn penguin is now going to run away from the lobby, but we'll have to see. Was that the only other really playing rogue today? Number 1. For the most part, yeah, because Slooper just has a couple of rogues that kind of coincide with their Mud build and Predator build. So Mass Rogue is basically Dr. Spoon's to play with. Of course, having the ramp fight already as well for some good aerial denial will be quite nice. We've seen already a few times how quickly they've been able to shut the door on them. Selfless down at the bottom up against Lynx. That's a yikes, unfortunately. This is basically the the build I have versus the build she doesn't tell you to worry about. That is basically this scenario here. Coolagast, though, going up against Nariba. I feel like this is probably the closest of the elimination ones. What's Zabrochson doing real quick? It's the first of the weeks. Let's go with Coolagast one more time. Zabrochson very well could survive if they lose. I want to see what happens here with Coolagast, who does have this corner composition all bunkered up. They do have what used to be the Steadfast Pulse, but it's going to make everybody surrounding that Archos tankier over time. And now, unfortunately, here for Coolagast, the 4th shock has been shown here, which is going to put on a bunch of extra damage. 1 extra target on each shock is going to add up quickly, but there is instances where you can heal through this. There goes the Adorado. It is going to end up falling. And now, so far, an extremely close battle here for Coolagast tournament life. Or not tournament life, but game life here in game number 1. The Seer is spinning on top of the squad. The Fur Knight is hanging on. That shield coming in here from the Empath buff is coming in at just the right moments. The heal does get interrupted here onto the Archos, but now it's just the Ranger versus 3. A very scrappy battle, but Coolagast is going to stay alive. And of course, 2 of the players that I don't end up watching, because I thought they had it, Dr. Spoon will be eliminated in 3rd, and then sure enough here, unfortunately, Selfless contesting Lynx PQP with the same build did not go into their favor. They will be eliminated as well. Dr. Spoon in 7th, Selfless in 8th. This could be a tense one, though. We do have Zabrochson up against Lynx PQP. We've seen the corner composition that came out of Coolagast, but how about this one here for Zabrochson? This thing is so beefy, it's not even funny. We got a little bit of Colossus actually in there, but the Scarabok actually getting ready to join and hopefully become a Colossus eventually as well. But will they have enough time? Let's see if this 5 Bulwark Empath composition, if they can just tank and reflect all the damage away versus these 7 fighters. 2 Behemoth on top of this here. For the side of Lynx PQP, so far, rather even fight. A couple of the weaker fighters have fallen already. But with that Verdance buff coming on through, the green puddle is keeping this green squad alive a little bit longer. But it is not going to keep them alive forever, as we do see Jotun, that big old polar bear. It's so tanky, and yet it is sustaining like a madman. This thing is not even supposed to be a tank, but it basically acts like one. It's right in your face, and it should be able to hold the line. But actually, the little scare box keeping the Fernite distracted, is the overtime going to cause a problem here for Zabrojsin? It is going to be the case. Zabrojsin's going to just barely end up falling as we lose like the other half of our lobby. So we have Zabrojsin is going to end up in 4th, Kulagast in 5th, Nariba in 6th. Of course, top 4 after 2 games make it into the semifinal. We're gonna go with the live game. I want to see the one not versus the Ghost, but there is potential that Luix could even fall right here, right now. We'll have to see how this one goes. Mud versus the Polar Bear and its friend of fighters. Or friends of fighters. Diving on through, keeping an eye on that Polar Bear. It is kind of getting swarmed. It does have that little emergency button, that untargetable, which was already triggered actually. So this is extremely convincing here for Slooper, as Lynx PQP will fall. Luix falls as well in 3rd. A very valiant effort here for this first game. But this now means that this right here, this is our final table. This is our final 2 players in game number 1. I quickly take a look away from the action. It's the battle board itself. I don't get to see this one too often because this is the one you get at the end of the battle pass. So congrats. I believe it'd be Lynx who ended scoring that one. It's very, very nice. But in terms of the composition, both these players still have a lot of health available to them. Not going to be eliminated, not now, not yet anyway. And the big factor, at least in that first fight, was the fact that the Polar Bear did get its untargetable triggered extremely early into the fight, and then it got focused down. But again, this time it's just going to be the last thing alive, and it has no backup, so holy smokes. Slooper's Mud Squad is absolutely unstoppable as of this moment. And while we're in this NPC round, do want to give the question to the chat. Of course, regardless of which platform you are on, I do have the chat open and I can see ya. But what would you like to do for game number 2? Do you want to stick around with the same lobby, or do you want to hop over to a different lobby? I'll leave the choice in your hands. If there is a tie or no decision, I will think about it and just trigger it myself, so no issue. But I do want to leave it up into your hands, or give you the option first. Okay, it is absolutely crazy to me that only here now, around 28, did the Railu finally get finished. And that's kind of been the issue here with Lynx's squad, at least I feel like, is that yes, you got 7 fighters super quickly, but they were never really that bulky. Like, you didn't have like anything really high tier until Jotun came out, but now it's literally just Jotun. And that is a very scary way to have to play, especially with how quick Caradulo does end up falling. And it just kind of leaves all of your other fighters open for this Mud Squad from Slooper to go absolutely nuts. We even have now a 5th mud on the board here on the Chakondi, as if you needed any more mud, well, you got some more. Chakondi's going to be joining the squad, diving into the back line, has that mud triggered, and of course could very well, if it does go down, just pass those stats off to another Illuvial But it may not even need it. Actually, no, it does end up falling, passes it over to the Gorilla. Gorilla also goes down. So far, a much better fight here for the side of Lynx PQP. Once again, the polar bear is still alive, but it has to deal with its stats being stolen. This is extremely rough once again. 3-on-1, but this one's much more doable compared to some of these other fights here. Lynx PQP, can you find yourself in this one? The damage is gone. They might be able to actually do this as long as the overtime timer doesn't shut them down, trying their damnedest to work on this Exalted Apon, but between the stuns and the tank augments, it is taking forever to take this thing down. Finally, the Jotun gets to turn onto the Fur Knight. Lynx is not done just yet. This was not a snowball here for Slooper to become unstoppable. In fact, Lynx is coming up clutch in the right possible moment. Another fighter augment on the board here for Slooper. Does that maybe allow Slooper to get 7 fighters on top of it? And it's extremely close. They have one on the bench. Blazonite is here. Super Chicken ready to fire away. Which also now gives Wildfire as a proc with the Chicondi. Mud given to the Blazonite. So if Slooper barely missed out just to a slight lack of sustain, the Wildfire might be enough to whittle down and maybe keep this red squad around. Last minute move onto the Blazonite into the other corner as the Revo is going to basically face tank this thing for the first couple of seconds. But in the midfield, so far so good here for the green squad until that Riptorus goes down. But it's been so far so good for the Jotun, but it's now going to be swarmed. The Forest is down. That is a 5-on-1. The untargetable is going to make things a little bit messy. Transfer some of that aggro over to the Ranger. And now it's looking troublesome here for the side of Lynx as they're going to go down to their second to last or maybe their final shot here. We'll have to see. This game does not get any closer than this. 28-27. Chat, place your bets. Theoretically, at least. Who do you want to take this one here? You've got the heavy mud from Slooper, or you've got the heavy fighters from Lynx. Very, very close battle so far. Lots of last-second positioning, and the Blazonite does get to stay away on the opposite side of the Polar Bear. Probably exactly where they want to go. But still got to watch out for that Forest. Damage number is going to be calculated on the left and right-hand side here. Let's see who pops off. Because right now, a damn well is not that Forest. It immediately got taken down. And holy crap, that wasn't even close. Beautifully done here from Slooper. Putting Lynx down to their final shot. That was easily the most decisive fight so far here between these two. Slooper just absolutely ran Lynx over with a semi-truck. What do you do here if you are Lynx? There's too many threats. We have double Riptorus in the front line. Was literally one away from finding the Rip Lance. But again, it looked like Slooper's actually holding 2 of them of their own to stop that from happening. Absolutely huge. The Jotun's trying to deal with the Chicondi. It is going to be able to successfully do so. Now it's going to join the rest of the squad, but once again, the tank line just falls way too damn quickly. Untargetable triggered, but that is like an 8-on-1, and that might be a tanky Polar Bear, but you're not going to tank a Slooper is going to be your victor here in this Lobby 1 quarterfinal game 1. There it goes. Quick snippet again, quick recap of what we ended up seeing here. So Slooper takes this one, really got dominated, or not dominated, but really dominated the early game, a little bit of a pause in the mid game, and then went absolutely nuts later. Lynx with the 7 fighters did solid, but it's going to end up getting seconds. Luix and Dr. Spoon showing in third. That's interesting, but I believe it's Luix third, Dr. Spoon. What on earth happened to this? I think I'll wait until I see the Illuvilytics. As this looks a little bit off, to say the least. But But let's see, if I recall correctly, if I hop over to the lobbies. One of the games was Brightland Steps, right? Might be a bit excessive, but let's see if we can hop in real fast. Oh, I think it just finished as I joined. Oh, geez, well, there we go. Looks like Detective Alan 8 took this one. I was a little bit slow to getting to the game this time here, so we'll go over all the results in just a moment's time. I could do it that way, or do the live results way. I like this page better. Yes, that's better, that's better. Okay, so Lobby 1 we just saw was just finishing up, or we just finished that one. Lobby 2 is one where we just got in just ever so slightly late. But we still have Lobby 3 and Lobby 4. Again, unofficial results, things could absolutely change. But as of this moment, Borges is going to lead the charge and take the win here so far. Followed up by Fox Spirit, Not Complain, and Unhappy. Meanwhile, Orc, Jonakino, Maru, and Ixis is trying to fight their way back in here. Lobby 4, that's why I feel like nobody's surprised. We have Fury Hype and Narkesh leading the squad. However, everything else was pretty much up for grabs, and Wolverine and LMNKO were going to be the ones who end up taking the third and fourth spot respectively as of right now, with Slicks and Cyforce are hot on their tail. Hasu and Jari having a little bit of a hard time in that first game. And of course, to recap, this is the game that we did cover here. We had Slooper leading the charge with Lynx, Luix, Zabrojson, Hulagast, Ole Nariba, Dr. Spoon, and Selfless. And last but not least, we'll hang on for just a moment's time as my green screen has a spasm, apparently. There we go. And we have Lobby 2. So, was in the grand finals once last week and is leading their lobby once again. Ole's Detective Alan A leading the charge with the two-time back-to-back winner. I'm a Fishy right behind them from Team Hype. Hollow Hype is right there as well. Hoshi from Team Atlas is holding fourth with Stygen from Team Hype. Fancy Pants from Atlas. Ramone from Apex. And Lukeets from Sura to wrap up the results. So this again asks the question, do we stick with the same lobby? Or y'all want to hop over to another one? Leave it in your hands for a couple moments while I have the slightest of coffee breaks. All right, decisions. Okay, which lobby to do? If I were to make predictions, Alright, that's better. Sorry. If I were to make predictions here with Lobby 1, while I wait for games to get active here. With Lobby 1, I can see Slooper Link's probably holding this just fine. I do believe Zabrochton will get back up there as well. The only thing that if I were to take a guess that could very well change is like Luix with Nariba or Luix with Kulagest. Or maybe Dr. Spoon puts on an absolute clinic in this game. But I feel like in terms of movement in this lobby, that it might not be so much as, like, it might not change too much. Lobby 2, Detective Valenay and I'm a Fishy, Hollow, I'm confident that those three can hold on to it. And then the rest of the lobby is pretty much anybody's game. So grabbing a fourth could be interesting there. Borgus doing a fantastic job in Lobby 3 alongside Fox Spirit and Not Complain. Again, another scenario where I feel like the top three is probably secured. The only question mark is for me in fourth. I can see Jonakino, Unhappy, or Maru taking that spot. Lobby 4, though, other than the top two, I feel like it could really shake up either way. A part of me wants to hop over to Lobby 4. Either Lobby 4 or stay with Lobby 1. If anyone has any preference either way, of course, please do let me know. This is why we don't click on Twitter when it's not your profile. Okay, any lobbies up right now? Nothing yet. Following artists on Twitter is very, very dangerous. Be careful. Lobby 4 is heavy. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, it could swing violently in, like, multiple directions. Because, like, I have faith that Fury's gonna Fury Rogue and just hold the top four spots easy. Narkesh, I have faith that they'll play pretty much whatever is necessary to get there. But everybody else has such highs and such lows. So curious. And it makes for an entertaining game, so I might switch over to Lobby 4. Apparently my nature is rocking rain. As much as I'm down to have for green sparkles, it would suit my character, to be honest, but there, let's try and trim it. There we go. Yeah, so I think Lobby 4 is going to be the choice. Damn this weather. Fix these up real quick. This is Lobby 4, Game 2. I've been thinking about it. One thing I wish that I could program or do, like, outside of esports. Sorry, outside of esports, I'm a big motorsports fan. So one thing that I'm just kind of become accustomed to is like a ticker on the side showing placements. Part of me was wondering if there would ever be a way that I can say in a tournament situation like this, I can have the points of all of the players from the past games, and then just have like a little ticker that moves up and down depending on where they are in the overall tournament lobby. Because that is one thing that I find kind of hard to follow, even as somebody who's heavily involved and heavily into Illuvium, is that like getting the entire picture of the game and of the tournament state can be difficult. And one of the ways this keeps getting brought up to my attention is because, funny enough, my mother watches my streams, and the way that I see it is if she can understand what's going on as a gamer, then okay, I'm doing my job. And a big problem is that unless I'm constantly repeating what the scores are over and over from the past game, which gets repetitive, you're not going to know the story of the entire lobby. You just know kind of what's in front of you. I'm curious if that's something that I can do one day. Okay. We have our lobby. I should probably boot Illuvium back up again here. And of course, we jumped into the swing of things so quickly here with the tournament. Normally on my streams, I have kind of like a Illuvium 0 pre-show, but that is not going to be the case because it's a tournament day. But on my regular streams, we do. But of course, I had posted on X, and then I'll mention here as well, I did kind of spoil myself with my first land that's not a tier 1. I did pick up a tier 3 land for cheap yesterday. To my surprise, it was already pre-built, and I did not realize that there was a multiplier on the fuel that you receive, or on many things that you receive on a higher tier plot. I don't know if I could ever go back to getting another tier 1. That is so incredible, and like I can actually look into burning fuel now, which is something that I've just essentially never done. But my tier 1s still have plenty of uses. That's where my plots and my blueprints and biodata are. I did get the Relentless Hydro links actually this morning off stream. Leaves me down to, I believe, 6 more linkses. And then I have all of tier 1 and I have all of tier 2. I now have to level up all of my scanners to tier 3. Oh, that's going to be expensive when that happens. We're getting there. Okay. We're loading into game now. I'll start, baby. Oh no, here we go. We're in. Just got to get it to actually show up on the screen here. I know y'all can hear it. I realize you can't see it right now. I'm trying to fix that. There we go. Oh. Alright, we're looking good. Thank you for bearing with me. I don't know why it took so long for it to show up, but we're up, we're living. All right, game number 2 here in this IPL 250 quarterfinal. We hopped lobbies. We're going over to lobby 4, and we got ourselves a new cast of players here. Let's take a look and see we end up having. Of course, we have leading the charge as of this moment is going to be Slick's Hype. Let's try this again. Leading the charge going to be Slick's Hype. We have Narkesh, Dari, Hasu, Psyforcer, Element KO, Wolverine 777, and Fury. Multiple, we have 3 hypes here, and an Atlas in regards to teams, and a lot of individuals so far in this lobby. In terms of the current state of the lobby, of course, this being game 2, Fury hype is currently leading the lobby, with Narkesh right behind them, then Wolverine, Element KO, Slicks, Psyforcer, Hasu, and Jari. So I'll try to make references to the scores as we go along so that everybody can keep track of the bigger picture with me as best as possible. And of course, I have the chats open with everything. So by all means, even though we're casting, I'll gladly keep talking to you. Same feeling with the tier 4. Yeah, it was definitely an eye-opening experience, and so I don't blame you. By all means, it's not for everybody. Fair enough. For our battle here so far, let's see how Narkesh and Wolverine end up duking it out with each other here. Our 2nd and 3rd place players respectively. As of this moment, it looks like it's so far so good here for the red side here. Wolverine going to end up taking down Narkesh. And while we have the opportunity, let's go through the field and see what we got for items. What on earth? This is the 2nd game in a row that I see somebody actually using the Emberling Rod. This is foreign to me, but I'm very happy to see it. Of course, my favorite weapon. The Elderwood Staff, so the Nature Empath Staff coming out here from Jari, Element KO, Ripple Flail for the Water Bulwark, Narkesh going for the Verdant Rogues possibly here, which is going to be funny considering Furies always goes for Rogue, and they're forced to go for the Earth variant. And then, who dodged me as the things moved, I believe is Hasu's got the Air Fighter Bow. Shock maybe? Can it happen? And then Wolverine with the fire weapon. The links available for this game is actually the Nature Empath links. So if anybody is going heavy for the Nature side or for the Empath side, you want to bunker up, well, you have probably one of your best partners that you can have in the game. And Slicks wants it. They already got the Virtuous Links. Stage 2, the Middle Evolution. As Narkesh goes up against Element KO. Looking like Narkesh going to fall again here. The numbers game for a second looked like it was going into Narkesh's favor. But once they started focusing the same targets, it looks like that was curtains there for Narkesh. Region for this one is going to be Taiga Boreal once again. If last game it was all drone augments were stage 2, this time all drone augments are stage 3. The best of the best. Those cracked out drones that you can possibly have here today will be in the game. I'm going to start from the bottom here as Wolverine's going up against Slick's hype. Slicks is currently rocking the 4 Empath with Harbinger. A little bit of a mixture of nature and water. Meanwhile, on the other side here, Wolverine, we do see the 3 bulwarks. A little bit of fire, a little bit of air, or not air, a little bit of nature, a little bit of earth. So, first, level 10 still very, very early in this one. But hello, beautiful. Look at what Slicks has picked up here. Virtuous Floor Links already fully evolved and ready to rock. Trying to breach this thing is really gonna suck. We'll have to see what happens here for Wolverine, where it seems like they've basically just launched themselves into the brick wall that is that little Apon and the Axon coming out here for Slicks. Nobody on Slicks' squad has fallen as of this moment. The Axon doing a fantastic job tanking. The heals coming in clutch here as well. And Slicks is just able to tear on through. Ranger in the back line as well, firing off those seeds for the big ol' AoE burst damage. Basically untouched. Wolverine's going to take the hit here as they barely even made a scratch onto Slick's pod. I think we'll stick with Wolverine here for one more time, though, as we have a battle of two of our players down towards the bottom. Hasu and Wolverine. Templar early on here for Hasu with that Railu is here ready. Are they looking for more? It does kind of look like it. Potentially looking for shock. I see some Kukas in the back line here on the bench and a couple more of the Rise. See if they can get that done early. We're at round 10 and don't have any of the stage 3 forms yet. At least personally, when I'm playing that composition, if I don't have at least one shock by round, say, 13, I start to get scared. I feel like I'm falling behind, so to speak. But let's see how this first fight goes. Ranger on the side of Hasu is doing very, very well, just pounding away from the back line. And it's been able to, with that alongside their own virtuous links here from Wolverine, have been just slowly but surely taking away the rest of the red squad. Now it's just a matter of dealing with this Ranger. If the Ranger could stay out of the inner circle of this Lynx, that's actually going to be a good scenario for them. Are they stepping in the pool? I don't think they are. It's going to come down to this little Tatofi, and it will end up falling. The Ranger is going to clutch out a 1v2. Beautifully done there by the Ranger of Hasu. And now let's see, is everybody in the NPC round going to start rolling and see what they end up having? Or do they end up saving? Do they end up leveling? We see the level up coming out here for a couple of players, your rogue players. Narkesh is really keeping an eye on basically everything that Fury is doing. Unfortunate here for Hasu, if they're going for shock, Fury's is scooping up the T-Ruse. So, and that just makes it so difficult to try and get to that 4 shock, which you desperately would want. Unless shock is not your main goal. Of course, with that air weapon, you do have some pivoting options. Maybe something more focused towards Tempest. Or just air in general, we'll have to see. The bunker composition from Slicks looks like it's being built up rather nicely, but Element KO seems to be trying to think of similar. Try and get it from their point of view here. Don't even necessarily have to bunker, you can just hold the line, make a line. Let the center be basically a healing point. I mean, in theory, Element KO should be able to out-heal this, considering they have the links here as well. But they don't have the reflective damage of the 5 bulwarks, which actually Element KO with a very, very quick switch, actually, taking 2 of those bulwarks away. Then swap in a little foe and a Riptorus. A little bit of extra damage to come reinforced. Maybe they realized that they were going to be out-healed, so they traded out their heals for damage in a last-ditch effort to maybe win this one. Groko does end up falling. Where's the heals from the red side? Needs to come out now. The Lynx finally fires it off as a bit of a martyrdom shot to try and keep them alive. But the foe is doing work on this Groko. The other 2 are doing work onto this Archos. Groko actually will take out the foe, but now you have next to no health on this little Groko. The switch was wise. Element KO going to take care of Wolverine in that one. Battle of 2 at the top. I am curious to see how one goes. Element KO up against Slicks. Slicks, of course, fully evolved, virtuous floor links, ready to rock with that bunkered up composition. Archos is here. Grand Tipo is here as well. The Exalted Water Tipo for the little extra shielding. Getting to that Ranger is going to be so difficult. There isn't anything like a Gorilla or anything that can just dive bomb the back line for free. And in fact, look at this last minute. That's a lot of last minute moves. Slicks, my goodness. I can feel myself fumbling trying to make a bunker that fast, but they did a very, very good job and kept pretty much everybody up and close. The only ones not really up close are the 2 Scions, which in theory aren't going to be really targeted anyway. And look how much healing was coming out. That Apon was basically dead and it came back to life in just a moment's time. Now Granatipo is going to end up getting bursted down. Now they're onto the big heals. But did they run out of steam here for LMNKO? The health bars are falling. The Axon's not going to be able to pop off one more shield before it does end up falling. Riptorus is going to get targeted by the Ranger. Big explosion from the Seed. And sure enough, the Axon on the side of Slicks and these two healers are doing a fantastic job of just staying strong and letting the two Scions do all the damage. Heck, even the Virtuous Floor Links having that percentage health attack damage augment on top of it means that it was doing work, and that is going to make Slicks the leader of this lobby. Asu picking up the Kuka. Well, I mean, maybe trying for a little bit of a last-ditch move towards Kukaraf, but given the state of their team this late into the game, I mean, I know it's only the mid-game, but a shock, you really need to kind of move fast if that's what you were looking for. Start leveling up his Tempest. It kind of looks like we're stuck between the two compositions. Not a fun place to be, but maybe finding the Jokul that they just found. I saw a little pop-up there a second ago. Yeah, I get the bear in there. Okay, that'll be a nice little fighter partner. Let's take a look at two of our bottom squads here. We got Fury, who's in third currently, and then Hasu. Let's see if Hasu can hold the line. The Jokul is here ready to catch that stab in that Fury is about to send his way alongside the rest of these rogues. Let's take a look at those compositions. That's 7 rogues plus Vanguard up against the Fighter Templar Empath combination, but lots and lots of air first and foremost. Gonna just try and air tank this. No traditional tank necessary, just try and dodge, but it does not look like they've been able to do so successfully, as it's just one after another. The green squad, so squishy, will end up falling, and falling badly. Hasu gonna take a big hit this time. Definitely rough here for Hasu, but a little bit left in the tank. Not all is said and done just yet. What's going on with Wolverine, I wonder? Currently third in the tournament lobby that they're currently in. A loss here would absolutely shake things up big time. Because, again, currently, in terms of the overall tournament standings, Wolverine is in third, but it's Slicks that is on the outside looking in alongside Psyforcer. So if Wolverine has a rough game and Slicks is on the pace that he's at to get a second, that very well could flip the script. But let's take a look at Hasu one more time. As they go up against LMNKO, the 5 bulwarks are here alongside the Aegis and the fighters. That poor Revo is not going to be long for this world. It is going to get melted before it even has a chance to roll away. But now the foe is onto the Kukaraf. So good on Hasu being able to find this Kukaraf, but can they keep it protected? Jokel's tried his best to do so, but again, they are very well equipped to try and shoot these things down. But now Hasu is actually kind of starting to turn this around a little bit. Maybe this Kukaraf is exactly what they needed. Takes care of the Ranger. It's going to be a 3-on-3. The Winx is doing a very good job of just making things extremely annoying for this squad, as the fighter and the Kukaraf are going to just keep dancing around. Actually, the Kukaraf didn't even have to move a feather. It is just going to go open season, firing away. Hasu is not done just yet. Finding that Tempest, finding the Kukaraf is absolutely clutch. Great timing for them, and I do see they did have the Mammoth, so they just have to level up now and get that other Mammoth, get that third Tempest online, and that will be the tank. Of course, the Mamu is rather squishy in regards to tanks, but of course, with it being a Tempest, with it being air, you can have above average health pool, but also have so much dodge that it just makes it so irritating to try and deal with. I tell you what, who would have thought that doing a Thanksgiving meme stream or a forced Kukas as the Thanksgiving turkey, forced Kuka compositions, then lead into a week of me basically playing nothing but air and shock with Kuka carries. I'm loving it though. Let's see. Okay, here's a good challenge here for Hasu. roll with them one more time here because we might have some eliminations on the board next time by. Quinks is actually going to come out. There's the dust, actually. A nice extra cherry on top here for this composition. Granted, it's not very auto attack focused. The only one really chunking with autos is actually going to be the floor links. Okay, the third Templar coming on through here with the Fur Knight joining. And, oh, Matu is here as well. So some big spikes of power coming on through here for Hasu. They have to have blown basically all their credits to be able to do so, leveling up to 7 and finding the Illuvials they needed to hit some of these affinity and class spikes. But let's see how well they can hold up, because you can't really do a good job of dodging the seed from that Ranger. Where is the damage coming on through? Let's take a look. Right now, it's all for the Floor Links on the right-hand side. Meanwhile, it's actually Matu and the Kukaraf. Actually, not even the Kukaraf, it's the Jilkal doing a fantastic job as the Kuka is basically the quarterback, firing clumsy, firing the focus onto each individual bunker member. Now they're on top of the Floor Links. Slicks, your lobby leader, very well could be taking a loss here in this one. As the forest goes down, the Templars and everything with it are going to go absolutely crazy and shut this down. Take Slicks down a notch, a couple of notches, in fact, as Narkesh and Fury are going to be able to pass them. We'll see Slicks once again here, though, as there is a possible elimination here for Wolverine if they cannot pull it together versus Slicks right here, right now. Wolverine currently sitting third in the overall standings in Lobby 4. A loss here opens the door for anybody to take their spot in this semifinal. Very scary scenario here for Wolverine. Left everything on the table to try and at least win this one, but that's a very scary squad to have to go up against. You basically got Bunker with the Furiox compared to the Bunker, but all the damage is based off the Ranger, the Sephoris, and then this Lynx, which can just shred by percent as long as it's shooting fast. So far, nobody's really gone down, but the Lynx on the green side is going to be the first to fall, but so does some of the tank line here on the side of Slicks. Wolverine, they're onto the healers. Can they actually turn this around? The Ranger's seed is going to try and explode and turn this around. There's a lot of low health bars, but they're still shooting. That is an absolute crackhead Furiox, double Chrono Flux, machine gun doing absolute work with the additional assistance coming out here from that Apon's damage amplification, and it is going to shred through these last two. One more Hail Mary shot coming out here from the Ranger. I mean, that's some low health bars, but the seed didn't go through. I do not think it did. The Wolverine is going to survive one more time, at the very least. Now up against Hasu. The devastating part here, I think, for Wolverine, I do not see anything that allows them to hit air. This could be very, very problematic. I don't see no clumsy. I don't see any sort of true sight. So this Furiox might be running and shooting fast, but it might be seeing miss after miss. Look at that Mammoth. It's basically just dodging everything. It's finally down the half, but in theory it should be dead by now. And it's just going to slow down, considering pretty much everybody on this squad can do this. And the machine gun Furiox may shoot like a stormtrooper, but still find the shots necessary. It takes like 10 shots to hit something that hits 2. But actually, it may not even necessarily matter. There's just a pure volume of shots doing some super effective damage here. Hypered up, just trying to deal with this Kukaraf, and once that Kukaraf is gone, there is no more threats here on the side of Hasu. Big damage coming out onto Hasu, not going to eliminate them just yet, but Wolverine still in the game. I have not really gotten the opportunity to take a look at Jari too much here in this game, so we'll see how they do versus Hasu. We've got Heavy Nature with Toxic alongside it, a little bit of fire, a little bit of water on top of that as well. But the main thing that they're going for here is just that 5 bulwark, hold the line kind of style composition with the Templars. Let's have some Empath as well. I was gonna say they're holding the line, front line, but they have the Elderwood or the Nature Staff the Nature Empath staff. So you kind of want your Illuvials to be kind of bunched up together, you would think. So playing them in the front line might have been problematic. They do try to put them back a little bit, and you can see so far a little bit problematic, but this big heal coming out here from the Deer, able to keep them topped off for just a little bit longer. And in fact, that very well might have swung this fight. The Kukaraf on the left-hand side is still just opening fire on basically everybody. The Deer is down. That's a big healer gone. And with the healer gone, it's going to be clutch time. The Rangers in the back line messing with the Fur Knights, and while that is happening, they dive right back in just in time. Jari will take the hit, and that means that Hasu is still going to be living. Will not say die here in this one. Hasu especially needs a bit of a miracle to find themselves into a qualifying spot here in the semifinal. Currently 7th in the overall tournament lobby. So they need basically a podium, and they need a lot of these players that are like 2nd, 3rd, 4th to have an absolute junker of a game. As of right now, LMNKO and Wolverine both on death's door here. 3rd and 4th in this tournament lobby respectively. Either of them go out now, that could be absolutely devastating, and they will likely, almost certainly, fall out of the top 4. But in the meantime, nobody's really dominating this lobby. The leader has 64 health. Currently leading this lobby is going to be Narkesh. Has that slap-in, or not the slap-in, the slash-in rather, fully augmented, ready to rock alongside a group of, or many rogues, and of course Classic got the Gnarl with the cleaver. So the Verdant Rogue, the old Fury Rogue as I would call it before, because he was the first one I saw do it, is coming on clutch. Fury's, screw it, I'm still doing Rogue, but I'm going to do the other way around. Actually has Malura ready to rock. Licks, of course, Path Scion, and devastating squads all around. But I want to take a look at some of our battles near the bottom here. LMNKO, of course, currently sitting 4th in this lobby. Them losing the Slicks right here, right now, would probably put Slicks into the top 4. Potentially making the semifinals. You're curious to see how this one will end up going. Heavy Invoker now for Slicks. The Sinolf has joined the fray alongside that Sephoris. The cast from the Ranger was good. That first Sinolf blast is going to go directly into the Fur Knight, which also manages to mess with the Crunk a little bit. Crunk extremely low. Forest is extremely low. They have a lot of splash damage into that back line, but who is better than healing the splash than that Virtuous Floralinx? They hold the line beautifully. Everybody's topped off. You need to burst them, or it's basically not going to be effective at all. LMNKO from 4th to last in this one, with Jari short to follow. Wolverine short to follow. That's 3rd. That's 4th in this lobby. They're gone. And then Hasu might still be out of this one as well. Oh my gosh, Hasu's out of here as well. We went from 8 to 4 players. Slicks and Psyforcer have to be dancing for joy with how that round ended up going. 5th and 6th on the leaderboards respectively. In prime position. Past Wolverine and LMNKO. I don't want to say it's guaranteed just yet, of course. I want to wait until we see the actual official results. But I mean, it looks good for Slicks. It might be good for Psyforcer as well, but again, no guarantee. A win versus Fury would be quite nice, but again, Fury's got what he's comfortable with for the most part. He may not have the slash in, but he's got plenty of rogues to help as well. But look at the big old mammoth on the side of Psyforcer. Trying to keep its Scions alive. Look for the shot here coming up from the Sinolf. It's going to go directly into that Quinks, but actually just finds the perfect hole to not hit any of the other rogues. So a perfect case scenario here for Fury. But so far, it looks like the sustain here on this green front line has been okay, but they haven't dealt with the Malura yet. It's still just wrecking havoc, and now that they've broken the front line, they will break Psyforcer and knock them down to 15. That's the problem with corner compositions like this. Most of the time, you can kind of just ignore the Allura, ignore the Malura. But when you're cornered up like this, no matter what, the Malura is going to be in your face. And it's just so hard to try and get around. Absolutely messing with the squad here. Psyforcer now versus Slicks. Double check the composition, of course, still Invoker on the table. Ranger might be Bloom, but it does not have a partner to do so, so it won't get that effect. And last minute move here onto the Sinolf to try and shoot down this Furiox. It's not going to be long for this world as both of your carries get scalded away. Beautifully done there from Slicks to immediately take the carries off. Now it's just a matter of dealing with this front line. Another beautiful cast from that Sinolf onto that Scion Ranger. And with the front line falling, Psyforcer's run will end here. It was a good run, though, but is it good enough to make it into the semifinal? We'll have to see in a little bit. In this stage here, I'm just going to stick to whatever match happens to be going up against an actual person. No ghost runs. But, of course, we will keep an eye on it. So Furies gets to go up against the Ghost, while Slicks goes up against Narkesh. We'll get to see the old Fury Rogue, the Verdant Rogue, coming on through here for Narkesh. Of course, Invokers coming out here for Slicks. They've got a lot of heavy bodies, some big bodies trying to block off the front line here of this bunker. But the ramp fight only needs one cast, and since they always move up ever so slightly, it did open the door for some of the rogues to kind of dive into a little bit of a nook and cranny. But this Gnarl here for Narkesh is so damn tanky. It hasn't even procced its Verdant yet, and it's doing absolute work. But in the backline, the Nature Rogue actually procs the Verdant. So now all these rogues have a little bit of extra sustain. But now also, the Ranger is just destroyed the slashing. Narkesh has been stopped at the front lines. The tank is not going to, or the tanks might have fallen, but these empaths have not, and that is more than enough to get the job done here this time. Narkesh down to 7. The one thing that I liked specifically that Slicks did there, because bunker compositions annoy the hell out of me for one reason in particular. No matter what, unless they all dive directly on top of you, even then, your alluvials move up maybe 1 or 2 steps. And sometimes those 1 or 2 steps is enough to let the Ranger in, or to let the ramp fight in, and then get some like beautiful Omega casts. But by putting the app on into the backline, which notoriously just has like really good range, so it barely ever moves, it basically stood still so that the only thing that could get in was the Ranger. The ramp fight could not get a good cast for the life of it. And then dealing with the stuns, of course, that come out with the app on. Just beautifully done. Narkesh now fighting for their life here in this game. Obviously no guarantee, but I would imagine with a solid finish in the first game, getting second, and then now getting a third, they are pretty much like set to go on into the next round. Same thing here with Fury. So everybody's sitting pretty. In that regard, my main unknowns are the spots of Psyforcer, Wolverine, LMNKO, and Slicks. See how this one goes. This is where I wish I had a ticker where I can see everybody's position moving live, like motorsport style. That is definitely something I gotta try and figure out how to cook up, because that'd be really cool. But at the same time, I guess it does kind of ruin some of the anticipation. Let's see how this one goes. A little bit of Wildfire coming out here now for Fury to try and add just some even more additional sustain. Gnarl has basically every rogue on top of it. Now the Verdant Puddle is down. It does go down. Here comes the ramp fight here on the green side. Now double dance here on the second side. But it is going to be all for naught here for Narkesh. The rest of the squad will fall. The Stabbin is going to floss on its older brother. And that is going to be Narkesh out of this game at 3rd place. But in theory, should be more than enough to make semifinals. course, top 4 after 2 games make the semifinal. Fury, I mean, they're in great spot. They won the first game, and now they're in second. They've probably made it in. The biggest question mark here for me is Slicks. Do they need this win to make the top 4? Are they already set? Or how is this going to go? All I do know is them getting a win right here, right now, would probably secure it no matter what. Gazatep online here for Fury, so that is an additional Enchanter coming into the squad, but granted, they aren't running Enchanter, so it's going to be a beefier, more annoying little Gazatep. I want this point of view in particular because I want to see exactly where these rogues dive. That it looks like a rather tight-knit bunker composition, but as the Crunk moves, it wasn't enough actually to let a rogue in. So big shot gonna be coming through. That's right through so many. The Revo actually moving might have saved the bacon of the stabbing for at least a little bit longer. Ramfight ult is immediately just going to be healed up here by the Lynx. One more time, Sinolf's going to come on through. But as the rogues try to break this bunker, they are sitting inside that devastating aura of the Lynx. And that will be enough to take out the red side. Fury one more time to try and keep themselves, maybe get a double victory here in this one. But do they need it? I don't really think so. They're doing fantastic overall. It Slicks, of course, one more good run here. A lot of things went their way. Perfect composition given the circumstances. Of course, you got the tier 3 or the stage 3 drones coming on through. You got the perfect empath Lynx for the job of trying to withstand so much damage. And being able to flex onto that, given the scenario, was very, very nice. Send-off beam going to go directly into the Gazatep, which is going to shred down this Malura extremely quickly. Ramfight to the skies is going to do big damage across the board. But the heal coming out from the Archos, the heal coming out here from the Lynx. Only one of the tanks actually went down. Only 2 members total went down. Everybody else here for Slicks is firing on all cylinders. And Slicks is going to win this one, and we're probably going to see you in the semifinals. Excuse me. And then, importantly for me, personally, a Lynx one. And the Scion Rod. To see there, of course, to kind of recap the lobby as a whole. This one looks proper, so of course, Slick's going to win this one with the marker composition. Fury's Rogue's going to fall in second. Narkesh short to follow with the Rogues of another sort. A slash and focus. Cyforcer. A little bit of a mix of a composition of sorts here, more so focused around Magma, if I do recall correctly. Going to fall in 4th. Doree in 5th. Wolverine in 6th. Hasu 7th. Element KO in 8th. All right. With that, our quarterfinals is completed. And we will have some results in just a moment's time. It looks like we already have a couple of our lobbies completed, so let's take a look and see who we have coming on through into our semifinal matchups. Looks like you're going to start with Lobby 2, because they're the first ones completed. Actually, no, Lobby 1's done too. We can start from the top then. Alright, with Lobby 1, Slooper leads the lobby, winning this, I think the first game. Was the first game? Yeah, it was the first game that they covered that they took. Followed up by Zabrojson. Oole's Nariba is able to make the upset of sorts and get themselves into this top 3. Followed up by Lynx PQP, who's going to hold the line. It was Luix who ended up falling in that one, having a rough one, and unfortunately knocks them out of this tournament. Lobby 2, your 2-time back-to-back IPL winner, I'm a Fishy, is going to be in the semifinals once again. This time winning game number 2. Knocking Detective Alanate down to second. Stygian Hype is going to find their way into the semifinals, knocking out Hollow. I can't wait to hear about it in Discord later. Knocking them down into the bottom 4. And Hoshi is going to be in 4th. Lobby 3, this one was close as well, my goodness. Not complain, going to be into the semifinal. Jonah Kino with a massive victory to go from 6th to 2nd in the lobby. Bad Borges is going to be there as well, picking up 3rd. And then a tiebreaker of all tiebreakers. That is a 4-way tiebreaker to get into the top 4. And some way, somehow, Fox Spirit will be making it into the semifinal with Unhappy on the outside looking in. Last but not least, in this lobby, Lobby 4, Fury Hype. We knew they were probably sitting pretty, and they're going to lead this lobby appropriately so. Narkesh is in 2nd. Slicks Hype did make it, and Wolverine hung on for dear life. Cyforcer is going to be 1 point short in this one, with Element KO also falling out of the top 4, followed up by Jari and Hasu. So with that, that is our quarterfinals all wrapped up. Tell you what, any surprises, chat? So far, pretty exciting all around here. And it's a little bit of a breather. My throat is on fire. 'Tis the season. It's wintertime. But we're getting the job done. Of course, I'm not done just yet. The plan is to also pass some semifinals. As long as possible, I may need to be pulled at some point. Start setting up for Illuvium's grand final stream. But I'll try to at least get one lobby completed. We just might not be able to wait all the way until the end of all semifinals. A best of 2 once again. And it'll be a few minutes still, it looks like. All games are finished, so we're just chilling for a few. Excuse me. A little heartbreaking there for Cyforcer, though. One more spot. Probably would have gotten them ahead of Wolverine. We got on Wolverine, though. Held on just enough. Of course, all the results that I did just go over are unofficial. There very well could be changes. Based off of what I'm seeing, this is final. And knock on wood that I don't curse it, but I finally got an internet technician out here. Do some damn work on the internet because I was tired of getting these lag spikes. And as of right now, knocking on wood, knocking on the bench that I'm sitting on, 0 dropped frames. That's a victory for me in its own right. Before it used to be like 1% of my frames would drop, which is painful. But we're living, doing good. Semi-final will be coming up in just a moment's time, I'm sure. They're usually pretty quick about it. And of course, regardless of which platform you're on, I thank you for tuning in. Of course, anytime I have the opportunity and the availability to do some extra casting here for the IPL, I absolutely do so. And if you want to see more of it, whether it be on whether it be a follow or a sub, depending on the platform you're on. I'm not talking about any of the paid options. I'm just saying the free follow options. Would absolutely love it if you'd be able to drop a follow, drop a sub if you have not done so already. And a big thank you to those who have already done so. Definitely helps me out a ton as I continue to try and basically solo content create based off of Illuvium, which is still, of course, growing, but all of you are an absolute blessing, and I absolutely enjoy casting and making content for this game because all of you have welcomed me in so beautifully, and cannot thank you any, or couldn't thank you more. Words are hard. Next semifinals, we can get this adjusted. Don't know which lobby we're going to be doing yet, because of course lobbies aren't out. But I can take a look, because I think I'm on the results screen. I got to go to the bracket screen here in just a moment. For semifinals, for those who don't know, similar scenario. We're just going to be doing a best of 2. The top 4 after the 2 games, making it out into the grand finals, which will eventually be on Illuvium stream, not on my stream, but I'll try my best to direct y'all when time comes. I'll fire a link into chat or something, and then we can all converge onto there, where I'll be joined by Caveman and Paz for some awesome grand finals coverage. Usually ends up being some raffles and stuff as well, zooming in onto what likely is a foot of an alluvial, and get some prizes that way, whether it be fuel or ILV. I'm not 100% sure of how that goes exactly, but there's usually a prize attached to it. So, be entertained and maybe walk away with a little something. Or be like Fury and do both, but I mean, there literally had to be a rule put in place because you would play in the tournament and win a raffle. Absolute God mode. Semi-final lobbies. Do we have them? We do. Okay. Lobby 1 here for our semifinals. Your 2-time back-to-back winner, I'm a Fishy, alongside Jonah Kino, Hoshi, Bad Borges, Fury, Debrojson, Nariba, and Wolverine. Lobby 2, if my head could get out of the way here for just a moment, we have Detective Alan A, Stygen, Narkesh, Slicks, Slooper, Links PQP, Fox Spirit, and Not Complain. So I'll leave the question open to chat as well if you have any preference of which lobby you want to see. Otherwise, after my very, very, very short break, I will pick it myself. Gonna reload up on water. Kids just came home from bowling. I'll say hi real quick before we get into the action with our IPL 250 semifinal. I guess I do need a be right back screen, don't I? Alright, we are with games available. Okay. In terms of who we pick. Both these players are just getting so good now that even this lobby is both these lobbies are brutal. But I think I'm going to stick with there's an Abyssal. I'm torn. Crimson Waste is going to be a bloodbath, but at the same time, Abyssal Basin could give you some ridiculous things to play around. In terms of players, I want to see if Slicks makes it. Stygen is actually, I believe, like a long-time supporter and viewer of the channel, and I don't think I've ever actually got the chance to really cast them. I want to do it. I feel like Lobby 2 is just... Oh, they're both full of killers. That's the thing. There is no easy lobby in the semifinal. I'll make the adjustment going into just a second's time. This is Lobby 2. Semifinals. Kill the music, why don't we? And to let everybody know we're still going. Alright. Thanks for bearing with me. Let's get into the swing of things. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around through the break. Clean slate here for all of our players in the semifinal. Let's see how this goes. Semifinals of the IPL 250 is now live. We're here with Lobby 2. Both of these lobbies look like absolute lobbies of death, but especially here in Lobby 2. This one looks like it's going to be absolutely crazy, considering in this best of 2, only 4 can move on. In this lobby, we do have Olay's Detective LNA. We also have Link's PQP, Slicks from Team Hype, Slooper, Narkesh, Stygen from Team Hype, Not Complain from Team Hype, and Fox Spirit from Team Atlas. Right along here with our top players actually right now, so you have themselves a little bit of a duel. A little bit of emphasis being put on this Revo here for Lynx, trying to get some work done. But it has a dive buddy, it has that fighter Ranger, and with the Flish focusing on the back line, it is going to let those two dive buddies take the lobby, or take the round here, and take out Detective LNA. You may have noticed right there on the right-hand side, that felt like a lot of damage here to start off this game. Isn't this early rounds? Well, the thing is, we have ourselves a deadly region here with the Crimson Wastes, where you're getting additional damage based off of your current interests. So if you are on a roll, you can win while keeping a good economy, you are going to destroy this lobby. Quick through the field, let's take a look at our at our team comps here in actually just a second. I lied. Let's take a look at the battle as it unfolds here. Detective LNA up against Stygian Hype. Stygian currently a little bit of a mixed match. Their big carries being those two Lynxes. But unfortunately, the one Lynx that does not have any of the augments just kind of took a Sunday stroll up along the northern side of this arena. And that is going to leave the door open for Detective LNA's squad to go right through Stygians like butter. As they select a drone augment, now we'll take a look and see at our weapons are through the field of swords. Lynx PQP put it up, of course, with that air fighter bow. Slicks has the Earthgraph Scepter for the Earth Scion compositions. Lava Gauntlet here for Detective LNA. Ember Buckler coming out here from Fox Spirit. Possible Wildfire incoming. Sylphid Blade coming out here for Not Complain. Mud, in theory, would be on the table, and it doesn't look like well, there's a little bit of contest. Earthgraph Scepter again, but this time for Slooper. Narkesh and Stygian are both going for this Vinebound Cleaver. The Verdant Rogues coming on through, and that does leave the door open for getting contested. We'll have to see how it goes as this game progresses. Two of our top players currently in this one, second and third respectively, Slicks and Detective LNA, battling it on out. Caradulo doing a solid job holding the line, really putting all emphasis here onto that Ranger to deal damage as the Apon's trying to support it as best as it can with that purple stun and with that damage amplification. And now that it's a 3-on-1 against the Ranger on the other side, that will get the job done here. Detective LNA is back on top. Roll down towards the bottom here with two of our players, of course, contesting rogues. Looks like we have Stygian going up against Slicks now. Slicks looking like they're going to be doing a pretty similar style to what we saw in the quarterfinals, where there was a lot of emphasis around bunkering up and having, in the first game, it was the Scion Nature Staff, the Ember Bloom, I believe. Now they're going to have to replace that here with this Earthgrass Scepter, which does do some pretty decent damage, don't get me wrong. And it's more consistent, but it does only target 3 Illuviums, or 3 targets. As they dive on through, looking for that Nature proc coming out here from Stygian's Rogue. And that's where the AoE really starts to tear apart this bunker when the healing is not quite there yet. Beautifully done by Stygian to get the job done in this one, knocking Slicks down a peg. Of course, Lobby 1 also in progress while this does happen. And that lobby, of course, consisting of Fury Hype, Wolverine Hype, I'm a Fishy Hype, OLA's Nariba, Hoshi from Team Atlas, Joe and Aquino from Team Sora, Bad Boris from Team Sora, and then Zabrojson. Since this is a Crimson Waste game, I can see a world where this game ends while there's still a few more rounds left on the other game. I will try my best to hustle on over if that happens. It didn't work the first time I tried it, but I will try it again, absolutely. NPC round, let's take a look and see what's going on. So, the Battle of the Rogues continues, but Narkesh did find a stab in at least, so that is a little bit of a spike for them here as we start to enter the early stages of this mid-game. Meanwhile here for Stygian, they're still really working on a lot of lower level alluvials. This is going to hurt the longer this goes on. Hopefully there for Stygian they get some sort of power spike, because right now all eyes being on the Rue is going to end badly for you, to say the least. I think Detective LNA, they didn't have the Water Blaster originally. They had the Fighter Gauntlet. Oh no, it was Not Complain that had the Fighter Gauntlet. I don't remember Detective LNA having the Water Scion weapon off the rip, but now, because they do, potential for Steam Scion kind of style coming through. Maybe you've seen Umber come play today. We haven't seen it at all in the quarterfinals, so we haven't seen it all day yet. Not that it's not any good, it absolutely is, but we'll see what ends up being on the table. There's Bunker coming out here from Detective Alanay with a little bit of Groco interference as well. Big stun on to 3 of the Illuvials here for Narkesh. Arctae's going to drive by, get that carpet bomb down on a multitude of Illuvials here on the side of Narkesh, and then shoot from the side. But while it ran away and did its thing, the rest of the Illuvials of Narkesh just absolutely tore through Detective Alanay's squad. Unfortunately, not even close in this instance. 5 more to go. Can that napalm strike of sorts from that Arctae get the job done? It did some decent damage, but not enough to take anybody out. Detective Alanay will fall further here. Battle between our top 2. Shall we stick around and see how this one goes? Personally, I think so. Oddly enough, battle of the same profile board of the same Illuvitars almost as well. Both Lynx and Narkesh with the Arcane Terra Lynxes as their Illuvitar, just different backgrounds. The Lynx is actually Slix has one, and so does Stygian. That's kind of funny. But here for Narkesh, going to be running the Rogues as they've been accustomed to over these last couple of games, looks like. Meanwhile, Lynx, they've got fighters once again. Let's see if they can make this happen, but they only have the 5. They don't have 7 just yet, so they're not quite fully operational in terms of that power spike. Keeping an eye on that stab in here from Narkesh. Can it stay safe? No, it is going to be targeted down. No emergency button or a way to escape that one, but did the Rogues do enough damage to deal with this Jotun? I don't think so. It is now just up to the poor little bear to try and finish the job, and when you have 4 Illuvials, or 3 Illuvials, plus a Ranger on top of you, that is not going to end well for you. So Narkesh is going to take some heat here after that one, getting knocked down the board. Haven't gotten the opportunity to take a look and see how Slooper's doing, so we'll hop in with them in a second after this draft. A little bit of a juicier draft compared to what we saw in the quarterfinals, or even at this point we would still see the maximum of a stage 3, or a tier 3 rather, not a stage 3. If we saw stage 3s on a carousel, can you imagine how crazy that would be? Oh my god. Sounds like a perfect game mode for Abyssal Basin, but... Or, what was it? It was Crystal Shores that did something similar to that, right? Except it was stage 2s. We haven't seen that in a while, and I think I know why, but it was chaotic. It was fun. Can you imagine if they were stage 3s? That'd be incredible. For all the wrong reasons. Fun to watch, but maybe not to play. Now, I said we were going to go take a look at Slooper. Slooper going up against Not Complain. Slooper semi-bunkered up. Nature, Fire, Earth. Meanwhile, we have all the remnants of a mud composition here for the side of Not Complain. The only thing is that they're missing the Apon, I think, or they're missing the Gorilla. So they don't have the ability to transfer over their stats, but they definitely have the ability to steal your stats, and that's what they're doing so far. So good now. There was a lot of emphasis on that Fur Knight to get this fight won, and it is not going to be the case. A very, very healthy Monk here helped lead in charge with that Caradulox actually as well. Ooh, hollow. Like it. Good on Slooper to stop the bleeding, or rather, good on Not Complain to still take that one. Slooper still looking to stop the bleeding. Alongside Stygian, who of course got roughed up pretty bad considering they're contesting Narkesh for a lot of the same Illuvials. And as of right now, like, both of them don't have a stage 3 of any of their Illuvials. And that hurts going into this one. They're both going to be really kicking themselves. And it's not like one has been far superior and the other one's hurting. No, they're just both hurting themselves badly by both going for it. So definitely rough here. Let's see if Stygian, though, can maybe turn this around versus Fox Spirit. The ramp fight to the skies. Big damage is going to take care of 2 in the back line. And the bleeding might have ended here. Fox Spirit, unfortunately, left the door open for a beautiful ramp fight ult, which just snowballed so badly. Stygian going to keep themselves alive. Not on death's door. Not yet. Wow, Narkesh falls a little bit further. Nobody truly feels like they're in full control of this lobby as of this moment. Like, every team feels like there's that one player that can absolutely, like, take you out at any given moment. So 71 leading the lobby currently. Crazy that they're already, like, borderline about to start talking about eliminations, but that is the beauty of Crimson Wastes. It still feels like it's the early stages of really these team comps really being built out. The only one that feels like truly flushed out is Not Complaints, but even then, still contested by Gorillas. Not Complain would absolutely love to see Stygian get eliminated here. Drop those Gorillas, let him roll for it. Because he's still sitting at level 6, he's really trying to get that 4th mud. So a lot of eyes going to be onto this one. This battle. Detective LNA. They're going to put Stygian on to Death's Door if they can manage to win this one. We did see Detective, of course, make the switch over to that water Scion weapon, the Aqua Blaster. And in theory, if they really wanted to, now that they just found the Rake, they could pair up that Ranger with the Singe, put Steam online, to allow for this Rake to turn into a super carry. Do they have the augments for it? They don't have Omnivamp, so it won't be a case of the unkillable Rake, but it still could be a devastating one. But they are opting, at least as of right now, to stay on to the Axon. Is that how it stays? Yes, they're going to keep Steam off the board, opting for the water. Alfie going to take the shot at the Rogue style. Quink's coming out in the upper corner. Big ramp fight ult's going to take care of 3. That thing's loaded up with 2 of those Omega power boosters. Is it enough? One more time to the skies versus the Rake. Beautifully done here from Stygian. It's actually going to knock Detective LNA down a peg, down to 25. The Battle of the Rogues coming on through. And they both have the same game plan. They both somehow managed to find ramp fight. And that good ramp fight Omega, they're really relying on to try and turn these fights. Yeah, it's literally pretty much identical down the board. The only extra benefit that our Narkesh has is actually getting to the 3rd fire threshold. So they'll have a little bit of extra attack damage, try and burn through this verdant style. They're both going to go up to the skies. There's the first ramp fight, takes a ton down, and this is an absolutely airball shot coming out here from Stygians. But there's enough units here for Stygians to still make up for it. One more time. Narkesh, does your ramp fight have it? No, the dive coming out at the last possible second here from the ramp fight on the side of Stygian to get out of the first one, but now it's got to deal with the Rogue, and it still has to deal with the Revo. One more time, big burst damage, 1-on-1 versus the Ranger, and the Ranger is going to take them down. Stygian down to 9 or 19. Very, very close fight. I can only imagine the difference it would make if that first ramp fight ult from Stygian hit its mark, but unfortunately, it ended up being an airball. That opened the door for Narkesh to take that win. Slooper On death's door here to start off semifinal game number 1. Magma is online for them, so these rogues are going to be diving into pretty much immediate damage and plus maybe a little bit of tankiness depending on how far along are they. I think it's just damage at this point. No, it's mitigation as well, so some slight tankiness coming on through. Rampite to the skies. Does manage to almost burst down that first tank. The Crunk lives though. It does not fall. The Verdant has been procced in the northern side here by the Gnarl to try and keep Revo alive just a little bit longer. Ranger as well, but it's actually the Singe and the Barriox. They've gone nuts. They're shooting so fast in this instance. They're tearing on through. Narkesh is going to lose this one and lose this one hard. Slooper stays in the game. Narkesh is down to 5. Stygen is down to 5. Both of your rogue players are on immediate flashing red emergency status here in game number 1. Oh goodness, Detective Alané as well, only 10 HP. This could be something very similar to what we saw in the quarterfinals where we lose 4 players in 1 round. Is definitely the possibility here. Not Complain already found their full mud as well, so they're not really relying on Stygen to get eliminated anymore. So this is just pure fight for the sake of survival. But for Detective Alané, they've got 8 water, shotgun water. Can it get the job done here with the rake as well? Shots fired onto the Revo going through many alluvials. But here comes a Rampite. It just destroyed everybody in the corner. It is all down tournament life or game 1 life onto this rake. It's going to find 1, but it can't go any further than that. And we will see 2 players end up falling here in this one. Potentially a 3rd. Waiting to see on the results here from Slooper. Rather than wait, let's take a look and see if we can find it. So completely freezing the game up. Here we go. This one took a little bit of a longer time. Slooper's game 1 life here in this tournament. Very close battle as well. Down to the carries. And the overtime. The Slooper and Narkesh, they will survive, but we do lose 2. Stygen Hype going to fall in 8th, and OLA's Detective Alané going to fall in 7th. Juicy alluvials on the board, specifically those foes. Tier 5 Nature Fighter Birds. Very strong bunker busters. I'm sure it would find a home on basically anybody's team. Trying to see what I'm really taking a look at in terms of positions here. Let's click through so I don't have to necessarily guess. So Slex is just opting to bunker up here with the Magma, 5 Bulwark, 2 Harbinger. Lynx, 7 Fighter. If they happen to have gotten the foe, oh, they've got the Forest. So they've got the Forest, they've got the Jotun, and they've got the Goliath here for tank. Beautifully set up here for Lynx in this first game. Not Complain, of course, did find the Gorilla and does now have that 4 mud, 4 water, 3 earth composition with a little bit of extra firepower on top of that. Mostly focused around fighters, but you got Predator and Berserker and Empath. It is splashing all over the place to try and make this composition work. Fox Spirit, Magma, and heavy nature in this one, including that beautiful hollowed out Blotto. Then we have Narkesh going for a Rogue Vanguard, and then we have more Bulwark Harbinger here for Slooper. Oh my god, the bear has 3 stacks of its health percent damage. And it's going up against a very tanky squad here in Slooper. It should, in theory, be able to chew this squad alive. As it's so far, the front line has essentially fallen. The numbers game is looking good here for the red side, and it looks like Slooper, your run has ended here in this one, unless... No, yeah, the run's over. It's gonna chop up one more big bite coming out there from that Jotun to get the job done. And we did lose 2 in that one. As it stands right now, Slooper will fall in 5th, Narkesh will fall in 6th. This now leaves Lynx, Not Complain, Slicks, and Fox Spirit. And looking at the comps once again, we have Slicks rocking the Magma-style bunker. A little bit of Scion pressure. Fighters coming up to try and breach it, though, here with the 4 air, 3 dust style from Lynx PvP. Not Complain, though, going up against Fox Spirit's bunker, and then the Fighters again. So it's just Fighters versus Bunkers, apparently, is the name of the game in this one. Which, unfortunately, for Lynx and... For Slicks and Fox Spirit, I think they both want the Scoriox, but they're both fighting for it still. They've been able to hold the line so far here. But can they continue to do so when these fighters are firing on all cylinders towards their front line? I mean, so far, the Furiox has been able to tear on through alongside that Fur Knight and the Earth Scion Ranger. It's just a 5-on-1 against this Polar Bear. The Furiox will fall, but it's got plenty of backup to get the job done. Fox Spirit now potential elimination here as we have Bunker versus Bunker. And then Not Complain taking the lead of this lobby, but it may not be for long as well because we now do have, is that a Riplance involved? The Riplance is here, adding another fighter buddy to the squad of Lynx. 7 fighters. Going to probably run this over, I would imagine, but I want to see what happens here with Fox Spirit and Slicks as they both have actually broken their bunkers to go frontline up against each other. The Blazonite on the side of Slicks is definitely going to be a boon, and the way it's positioned should fire through multiple Illuvials. Meanwhile, the side of Fox Spirit might only tag that right side. Huge sun, though, coming out here from the Goliath here on the side of Fox Spirit. That went across the entire front line. But as of this moment, this Furiox, or both Furioxes, have been just able to free fire on whatever it pleases. Who's going to get ramped up first? As of right now, this looks like it's all Fox Spirit. You might have the Blazonite, but it very well might not matter. One more shot, but the Furiox is inside the heel, but it's sitting in the magma at the same time. It's a little bit of a ticking time bomb here, but Fox Spirits will survive, knocking Slicks down to 7 health. Oh, one way or another, we are going to see eliminations. We might see this lobby or this game end right here, right now. Maybe not completely end, but get to our final table of sorts. The fact that our leader in this lobby has 20 health. Anybody's game. Well, I'll sit here with Not Complain. I'll sit here with Slicks. A little bit of a hype team kill. One of them are going to be eliminating each other no matter what, I feel like, in this one. Geyser online here for Not Complain. Decent little healer, but do they have enough firepower to get through this front line? But that Crunk, that... they're just straight up melting through this one. The Monk here has been absolutely wrecking things. Even the Seer spinning is still going to get bursted. That wasn't even close. What a battle here for Not Complain to send our poor player pack in here. Send Slicks packing in game number 1. In 3rd place, actually, as Fox Spirit has also fallen. As we head to the NPC round, we are going to wrap things up one way or another in, I think, our next battle. Bunker style composition with a little bit of Templar action so far here. Wildfire Magma is the name of the game here. This is actually Slicks' squad, so I'm actually lying. Let me take a look at the squads that are actually participating in our final battle. The one set of fighters here, the 7 fighters with Behemoths and Berserkers, Riplance adding to the squad as well. Going to be crazy. We also have Not Complain, the Mud Squad that has been absolutely devastating this entire lobby, with the backup, of course, coming out from that Cardalox to hold the line, as well as the big boy in the back. Guys are going to be keeping everybody topped off as best as possible while being a little bit of a pseudo-tank in their own rights. But all eyes going to be on the Mud Squad, the Mud units. The Exalted Monk here, going to be the big carry coming out here for the side of Not Complain. Meanwhile, again, we've got the Jotun fully loaded up on augments. This thing's going to be devastating. You also, of course, have the Riplants and plenty of other fighters looking to slay this battle. Led by the front line of this Goliath. Let's see, this might be our final battle here in game number 1 of our IPL 250 semifinal. One thing that I'm just noticing now as well, coming out from the side of Not Complain, is they did add Mystic to the squad. How did they end up getting that? Was that via their Ranger binding? It does not look like it. Failing to see what would have triggered it, or it might actually, it's the Geyser. They got the Geyser, so by finding that, it's going to make it just that much tankier. The two carries, they're going to go after each other immediately. The Jotun versus the Monk here. The Monk here got charmed, and it stopped the Monk here in its tracks. But now, the Jotun just popped like candy as well. And now, Not Complain, they're tearing on through, but the Riplants is trying to fight back. The Gazatep's trying to fight back, but there is not enough damage for them to get the job done, I think. Forest is going to catch this Ranger as it dives on back, and that will be game. Not Complain is going to take Lynx out and win game number 1 of this semifinal. Of course, unofficial results, but this first game, Not Complain going to lead alongside Lynx in second, Slicks in third, Fox Spirit in 4th, Slooper in 5th, Narkesh in 6th, Detective Alanay in 7th, and Stygen in 8th. And there we go, and it looks like we're not quite done just yet, because this was a Crimson Waste game. We flew through that first game. Let's quickly see if we can hop on in to the other side. Of course, as we're loading in, again, thank you for everybody for tuning in. I hope you're having a great time. We've got lots of Illuvium left to play today, and we are down to our top 4. Let's not waste any time. I'm not even going to switch my overlay. Screw it. Let's just get into this, because we could see multiple eliminations in here. We have a lot of possible upsets here already. We lost Borges. We lost Zabrojson. Hoshi's out. Furies is already out as well. So Wolverine, I'm a Fishy, Nariba, and Jonah Kino are all fighting for a fantastic start here in this tournament. And we're going to ride along with Wolverine and Jonah Kino. Rogue versus Bunker with that ramp fight fully loaded on Omega Power. It wants this to end and ends quickly. The Axon on the side of Wolverine is stuck. It cannot even get into the fight, but it at least prevented the ramp fight from getting into a prime position. And with Wolverine, that looked beautiful. Is that a Dualef coming on in here? Sure enough, it is. The big old pistol shrimp fully evolved and absolutely nuking the lobby as we lose Jonah Kino and we lose Nariba. Final battle coming on through. And this one's going to be a doozy. We have 6 Scion Invokers, 5 Bulwarks. Coming out here again from Wolverine, starting off with a bang. Meanwhile, I'm a Fishy. Blasonite loaded up, locked up in the back line. But we're going to see the 5 Bulwarks, the Aegis, Fighter, Templar, Berserker. What are they supercharging in terms of the Aegis? Are they just... It doesn't look like it's necessarily charging a whole heck of a lot of anything unless it's just the Gnarl. So we'll have to see how this one goes. Ember Bloom, double proc coming on through from I'm a Fishy. Or from Wolverine, rather. Big Dualef Blast immediately eliminates the Blasonite. The big carry on the side of I'm a Fishy has fallen. And with the Monarch raining down fire and the Duelef blasting out water, you're getting hit on all fronts. Wolverine, what a way to turn it around after that last quarterfinal game. You were nearly going to miss the semifinal. You come back and you win the lobby. So again, unofficial results here in this one. Wolverine from Team Hype going to lead the charge with that bunker-esque style kind of composition with I'm a Fishy, Nariba, Jonakino, Bad Borges, Zabrojson, Hoshi, and Fury rounding out the lobby. Fury went for Shock, it looks like, and to be fair, that's unfortunate because it looks like they have basically everything they could have wanted. But it might have all come a little too late. Alright, so with that, all the games are done as of this moment. We'll have our next one coming up shortly. Thankfully, I just have to join the video ninja for the Illuvium stream, so I shouldn't hopefully take too long here. Around for screens, how about we find a results page? Excuse me. So again, just to kind of confirm where we stand in our semifinals here in this IPL 250. Lobby 1 led by Wolverine and I'm a Fishy from Team Hype. Ole's Naribug in third, followed up by Jonakino and Bad Borges from Team Sura. Zabrojson, Burnley in sixth. Atlas's Hoshi and Fury Hype rounding out the lobby. After that, of course, Lobby 2, the one that we were following initially, Not Complain, led the charge here from Team Hype. Lynx PQP in second, Slicks Hype in third. Fox Spear from Team Atlas in fourth, followed up by Slooper, Narkesh, Ole's Detective Valanet, and Stygen Hype. As soon as the games get rolling, we will get into it, and then I will have to make a very, very quick exit after the game that we cover is done. I'll end up picking whichever one has the potential for the shortest game, because I do want to give Paz and the rest of the Illuvium broadcasters enough time to set up without feeling having to rush. So if one game has Brightland Steps and the other one doesn't, basically, I'm going for the one that's not Brightland Steps. If they both end up being Brightland Steps, then shoot me. Not literally. Well, any predictions, any guesses going into this one? I don't want to curse Lobby 1, but I've seen time and time again so far here for poor Wolverine that they have amazing highs, but they also have brutal lows. I'm happy to see them in first. That gives them the best amount of wiggle room possible, but the way they play sometimes does scare me. I'm a Fishy, I feel like has just been on an absolute tear. It'd be incredible to see them in their third consecutive grand finals, let alone if they manage to somehow snag a third consecutive win. And then similar to Wolverine, but with Nariba, high highs, but then unfortunately some really rough games in the past. When in a kind of a pressured scenario like right here, where third, yes, it's good, but it's not guaranteed. Can be brutal. And then in a similar nature with Jonakino. Fury's getting 8th is definitely the biggest WTF moment of that lobby. I'm curious if I didn't get necessarily the chance to really break down that lobby's compositions that much more. But did somebody take rogues on them? They made the switch to shock, but it was maybe too little too late. And then Zabrojsin. Can we see the TFT Professional find their way into their second consecutive grand final? Well, if they're going to do that, they need a banger of a second game to do so. Okay, let's take a look. Any lobbies live? Not yet. Now they are. Shard Bluff and Taiga. I think we go Shard Bluff. Crap, hang on, this is game number 3. I gotta reboot the game. Of course, with it being Shard Bluff, that does also open the door to more legendary augments, which could make things very, very interesting. Being booted up as fast as possible here. This is not the main cast. No, it isn't. I'm going there in less than about 30-35 minutes. Going to be covering this semifinal game. Then once it's done, I'm going to hop on over to the Illuvium broadcast for the grand finals. Wasn't initially planning on doing coverage here today, but some things fell my way in the last possible second in the morning. We had the opportunity. Figured we might as well. So this is semifinal, game 2. Oh no. Studio mode.